Good morning, everyone.
Morning,
Welcome
everyone.
to today's hearing.
The Grenfell inquiry dramatised.
Then you said you binned them, is that right?
Using the exact words.
Then you said you binned them, is that right?
This play highlights the hearing's finding.
Jackie, what did you think about the play?
Well, for me, they encapsulate the most important part.
I mean, I thought the saddest thing was like everyone involved didn't care. They didn't care about what they did, and they didn't care about the people. And I thought it was good getting that across because no one regarded the people who were doing the job for as something worth caring about.
Some of the next of kin who were in the audience and really got very viscerally upset and left, not because of the play, but because of where it kind of takes them to. And we do have some next of kin who have something stayed, and we applaud you for your courage. But the messages they wanted me to say is that, you know, this play is really, really important because it's for ordinary people who have no idea what's been going on, what we've heard and what we've had to go through. And we thank you very much for doing it. We think it should be on TV so that more people can actually see it.
We cannot let those people die in vain. We cannot let this happen. And what you saw in terms of people speaking the most outrageous things that they should have done, could have done, didn't do, and chose to save money rather than to do. Yeah. Instead of choosing your lives and our lives.
This disaster happened within the pocket of one of the smallest yet richest boroughs in London.
Actor Derek Elroy plays one of the lawyers representing the Grenfell victims.
Grenfell is inextricably linked with race. It is the elephant in the room.
One of the most powerful scenes was actually with Leslie Thomas, when he really talks about the elephant in the room, because at the end of the day, you know, as he lays it out quite clearly, 85% of the residents of Grenfell Tower were black and brown people, and you have to ask the obvious question is, you know, was this value engineering, doing things on the cheap, cutting corners, was it because these lives don't matter?
Yeah, because like Grenfell was like a little forerunner to all the corruption and mismanagement and incompetence that we saw in COVID. That was on such a big scale.
When we talk about the inquiry, when we talk about justice, the inquiry actually isn't for us. Yeah. The inquiry was for them to make recommendations. It was for the authorities to be able to quickly say, what do we need to cover up quickly and to make good so that we are not going to be sort of prosecuted or continue to breach human rights. The inquiry is not a vehicle of justice for the people.
Police have finished their investigation.
Absolutely.
They're waiting for the trial to finish before they can actually do anything. So, I mean,
And what the inquiry does is it allows people to rehearse their defence, if you like, because actually what the inquiry has done is it's meant that now the CPS can say, I'm not quite sure if we can charge this particular person or this particular person, because this one says it was his fault and this one said, you know, what they call the sort of the buck passing. If you didn't have an inquiry, you would have none of that. The CPS would be forced to look at the level of proof about a particular person who was in a particular job in terms of can they be charged for manslaughter through gross negligence. And if it meets the bar, then they can be charged. Right now, we have a situation where actually the inquiry evidence means that the CPS would probably say a lot of these people that you heard tonight cannot be charged because each of them is going like this.
And I'll tell you why, okay? Because the criminals are policing themselves here.
Absolutely.
Okay, the building regulations, buildings were deregulated by the government, who had a task force to deregulate. So everybody else who has done wrong or not done what they should have can say, well, the policy allowed me to do so, and these people should have done it, and these people should have done it, and the policy allowed me to do so. Because if you follow the crime, it goes right back to the government, and they cannot let you get there. and they are policing that.
These are the diaries and notebooks or daybooks of Peter Madison.
We get a very small percentage as the community of that money, and we've got people out there hating on us because they think we're taking their tax money. Your tax money is going straight to the town hall, in all of their pockets, into their departments, enhancing their CVs. Okay, it is not the community who are having it. We are having to fight for every scrap of it, and we are having to fight for it to become, for any sort of legacy from this. They want to finish this 5 years with nothing to show for it.
No, absolutely. It's turned into a business. Basically, Grenfell's turned into an industry. What happened was, right at the beginning of the fire, there was a call from the mayor saying to Theresa May, send in the commissioners, you cannot have the criminals in charge of the crime scene. We started to look at their accounts. By the way, they still don't have an audited account. That's one of the things that we really on about is, where's your audit? What did you spend all those hundreds of millions of pounds for that you said was for Grenfell? Because none of it trickled down to the community.
We're letting them take what's ours, and they're letting us give us what we want. Don't just accept what you've been given.
Yeah, you know, Jackie, all of this is driven by money and profit, you know?
Exactly.
And it's the fact that the land in RBKC, instead of being worked for it like nothing, as it used to be in North Kensington, and they're quite happy to dump people there, for all the poor people and the people that don't want to bother about in the industry. Now it's worth billions. And all those square bits of the land are worth billions to someone if they can put like a big plastic shiny block on it and sell it off to some Chinese for not living, you know? So, I mean, that's why you have to move the poor people out of the way.
We have to keep fighting. And what happened to our regular marches we were doing? We need to bring all that up.
Can I say that's really important about what happened in the aftermath? It was a really, really interesting time, and then suddenly, you know, Grenfell fire happened in Kensington, and it's live worldwide. You have 38 embassies and high commissions in this tiny borough, and a palace for the future king and queen. So this is not just a nothing borough. This is a huge seat of power. This borough, in fact, more than Westminster in some ways, because you know the most expensive street in Europe is right around the corner from here. So it was really significant, and within days there was a kind of storming of the Bastille moment, where people from the community just rose up and came down to town hall and broke down the counter. It was very grassroots. It wasn't organised by anybody. It was just how people felt. They were marching down High Street, Kent, and suddenly you had people from North Kent, you never go down that way, marching down through Holland Park and through Kensington High Street and going down to the town hall and smashing the door down. And this was the sort of thing that we've seen could trigger a social unrest around the country. Because this is like what happened with race riots, for instance. You have one incident, you have pent-up anger and frustration, and summers are always the time when people riot, and it was a summer. And so suddenly it could have really taken off. Within days, a military think tank was down here in the community, advising on how things should be organised. A military think tank. A military think tank. They weren't introduced as a military think tank. They were introduced as...
Gold Mine.
No, I'm not even going there. This is an actual couple of individuals who are introduced as nice old folks who are here to help you. But they were a military think tank. We have their names, we know their CVs, we know they were special advisors to NATO Secretary Generals. We know how much money they got in 2018, the year after the fire, from the defence budget. And their advice, I'll never forget this, in one meeting, was because Britain is racist, don't talk about race. Just don't mention race. It's going to backfire on you. Trust us. Just don't talk about the race thing. That was just one of the little gems that they came up with. But they basically structured. So when you ask what happened, because people have lives and whatever, you know, and I'm not promoting rioting or anything. I'm just observing what was happening. You know, I'm observing. I'm not saying anarchy. I'm saying that the people were naturally triggered by this awful thing, and they were expressing that. And the state's response because we couldn't do anything else. They couldn't send in the police, they couldn't send in the army, they couldn't send in even traffic wardens for weeks. The state's response was to send down these nice old men to tell you, this is what you've got to do, this is how you've got to do it, this is what you've got to call yourselves, this is how you've got to shut this down, you've got to get rid of these people, you've got to get rid of these people, you've got to get rid of these people.
I was going to say, like Kensington and Chelsea, the way you talk about the stitch-up, the way Kensington and Chelsea is put together, all of the Tory voting part of it is much bigger and much more powerful, and there's more wards there than there are the Labour voting part. So there are more people in the Labour voting part. And it makes sure that a few people who live around South Kensington, because they have a cabinet who control all the decisions, that only a few people in the council actually make all the decisions. So it doesn't matter who you vote for in North Kensington and who decides to be your councillor, because they're never going to have any power. And they're so dispirited that they don't even try to show it.
But that shouldn't stop us.
No.
Okay? That shouldn't stop us. And what it is, okay, for me, when the fire happened, there was no party, there was no Labour, there was no Conservative, there was no one. All they all did is use us as a political hammer for each other. And you're right, in this community, we need independent people to stand, and we need independent people to do this, because after what we've been through, we have proved that it's the community that have got the community through this. It's the community who understand what we need, and it's us that's been fighting for what we want, and we are the only ones who care about recovery. In their infinite wisdom, the government have given us, and the council have given us 5 years, because for some reason, in an unprecedented disaster that hasn't been written, they worked out it's going to take us 5 years. And within that 5 years, we have been fighting them for justice, fighting them for some sort of minuscule recovery. And so how they expect us to have recovered when we spent all of that time fighting, I don't know. But he's right. We, as a community, need to stand. We need to stand for ourselves, and we need to no longer depend on these parties, because all of them have shown through this. They care about their party, they care about their politics, they care about their standing. The only people who care about us is us. There is no justice, there is just us.
And it's very difficult for people to come together when they've been exhausted by what they've had to deal with for the last 4.5 years. On the estate, people don't have a boiler, do you?
No, I mean, people think recovery should be done by now, everyone's in house and it's all sorted. And they're sort of astonished when they come there and nothing pretty much has changed. I mean, there are lots of promises and there's lots of consultations now from the council, because they've changed in that way. They just spend all their time asking filling questionnaires. But from actual tangible things that happen on the ground, there's a small list of them. On my hand. And they're not like big things, they're all small things that don't cost very much money, really. They're simple things that they should have done in the first place. And like ways of dealing with people. So, one of the things I think that was really damaging after the fire was the same stupidity and incompetence and disregard that caused the fire carried on. So, recovery.
The fight for survival and day-to-day issues that occupy residents have not allowed residents to go into politics. So if on a daily basis you're dealing with the council and you're dealing with trying to survive, that doesn't give you much time, much headspace or finances or anything else to get involved in local politics, apart from the fact that people who did were taken down.
You know, I don't want to argue with you, Liz, but I'm going to be honest. What did Labour do for us? Well, and I'm not arguing for any political party. I'm just saying, like, yes, okay, they might have split that vote, but we have to start somewhere. And if we start with independents coming in, and then later on people might get it, and in a few years' time we might get it. But what we've got to realise, right, now when we had Labour there, what happened, Liz? What happened? What happened? Do you see what I mean? And so what it is, yes, if they joined, we would have been, but Labour didn't actually do anything for us there. And what we've got to look at is, you know, Labour has changed over time. We've got new Labour and all this, it's changed over time. It's no longer your working man's party as it was. So we need to look at what is it that we need in these modern times as people on the ground, and how we can provide that for ourselves.
I think that one of the things that was really important that everyone could get around is the tower itself is a really powerful symbol, and it should be still visible on the skyline, because that becomes something that people can. It can be a sort of a catalyst. And they came to the conclusion that there are parts of the building that need to be taken down, but up to the 10th floor, the building is safe. You can get around that and actually compromise and say, yes, let's fight for saving the bits of the tower that's safe, preserving it. And then, that's the number one. If we can get around that, all of us, everybody, the community, the survivors, the bereaved, the next of kin, and the estate, demanding preservation of the tower for at least the first 10 floors, because we know that's safe.
No, but I think the important thing is that it is the same height, it's 200 foot tall. You can see that all across London. And if they make a beautiful garden with statues and water feature, in 30 years' time, 15 years' time, when we're there, they'll move it somewhere else. And they'll put a building there. Because there's nothing to stop them doing that. If it's a monument that stands there, then they can't just erase that so easily. And I think that's really important, that there's something that has that presence.
And they want to erase the memory. They don't want, obviously, a legacy from this. But for us, there is no way that we have experienced this. We've lost all of our people like that, and we've been through all of this for nothing. That just can't happen.